Happy Friday. Welcome to a Trinity Family 5-Minute Friday. I'm Andrew. This is Bree Weens, and we are a Trinity family.
And we're here in the summer. Wanting great scenes for our families and for us to hold on to for the rest of our lives.
Yep.
And looking back at our own memories, we know that one of the best ways to make memories is over food.
Yes.
And summer is a great way to capitalize on this because it's growing on trees. It's maybe growing in your backyard. It's growing everywhere. And so we have 3 ways to connect your kids to the source of the food that's on your table this summer.
Yeah, because it's so easy in our modern world to forget where food comes from. It comes from the grocery store. It comes in plastic. That's a reality. And so the more we can resist that, the better. And scavenging is our first way. As I grew up in Montana, some of my absolute favorite childhood memories are in the ditches of Montana, picking asparagus, which I hated eating. It was the only food I didn't want to eat, but I love that experience of picking up these things and competing who could get the biggest bag full of asparagus and then not wanting to eat it later. But we did the same thing with apples, and we did it with plums and choke cherries. My parents would take us out and we'd find these trees just growing wild in the ditches, in the right of way, and we would get to take those home and cut up all the apples and turn them into applesauce and apple pies. And so we were there for the whole process.
And you got to eat that throughout the year.
All year
And
long,
remember
canning
that.
it and do those things. And it's just such a gift, to be connected. And I was more or less a city boy in Montana, but I got that experience of real life, real food. And now I'm even more of a city boy. And when I moved to the Twin Cities of Minnesota, that was one of the things I was like, I just hate this city. There's not even going to be that capacity to give my kids that memory. How wrong I could be. Even in the city parks, the trails that we have all around us, we find raspberries, mulberries, June berries. If we knew what we were doing, we could find mushrooms. We find apples. We find all these things, just even within walking distance of our house.
He comes back from walks and he's like, I found another tree. And it's like, oh, good. We'll put that on the list to go to.
Yeah, so our kids are getting that experience, that gift, even as city kids. And so I encourage you, I guarantee there's something growing within a couple mile radius of your house that you could connect with, harvest. Make sure you know what you're doing. Don't eat weird berries or dig any roots that many of them could kill you. But know what you're doing, enjoy it, and you will make some great memories for your kids.
A second way to connect them to the source of food is gardening.
Yes.
And it makes us such a great memory. I remember going with my dad and we would pick raspberries in our backyard. That we gardened. They weren't wild. But it created space because picking them off of pokey vines, you had to be there for a while to get all the berries. But it was so fun to pick the juicy, plump berry and pop it in your mouth, or put them in the bowl and save them for my dad to make raspberry waffles the next morning. Or it just has such a wonderful feeling connected to it that even now we collect raspberries and are like, we have to have at least a batch of raspberry waffles because it has created such a great memory for me. But the gardening work too, and what it takes to grow food sometimes is really bonding, and it's also really good for us to remember and for our kids to know the work that goes into food that gets on the table.
Yeah. And I think, again, we'd say don't limit yourself if you don't have much space. You can always have one potted plant even to produce a few tomatoes. Really give a gift to your family.
And those will be the best tomatoes you ever eat.
Yeah. But the third thing that we're gonna highlight is farmers markets. Almost any city and any community around our country has a farmers market.
And I think they're getting really popular.
Yeah. And that actually gives something that the other two can't, which is a connection to a farmer. And when we talked about at the beginning here, this space where we're forgetting where our food comes from, to be able for a kid to look this person in the eyes, see their dirty hands, and say, "You grew all this, and you're selling it. You are a farmer." That's what that looks like. And we have so much fun going to our weekly farmers market as a family. We give our kids each spending money. It's pretty much the only place that we do it. And they get to go, and they each have $3 or $4 they're going to pick out something. And
that's their own fruit or vegetable.
And so then who do you think wants to help when it's comes time to cook that? Those kids are getting in the kitchen. They're learning what this eggplant is or this okra or Thai basil, what is that? Can you tell me about that? How do you cook with it? Talking to the farmer. And, this is a 5 or 6 year old kid asking these questions, talking about money, figuring out how much change they need to get back. And all those things are happening because of one simple trip to the farmer's market. Great scenes, great memories, great food from the hands of the farmer to the table of the eater and everywhere in between. And so we just really want to encourage you. Mother Nature is growing it. Go and seize the moments that we have in the summer to get fresh food, to connect it to the earth that it comes from.
And your taste buds will be happy too.
Yes, they will, which is always a good thing. Happy Friday to you, Maternity Family. Bye.